it wouldn't surprise me in the least, mainly because, well, for two reasons. AI is trained using data provided firstly by human developers and programmers, and then it trains itself using ongoing exposure to online material provided by other human beings. And we've all seen from social media, haven't we, just how inaccurate and how fired by heat more than light human interaction can actually be. And within that second category, that's AI training itself through online data, I suggest that the majority of data related to political news is generated by media and media-related people, whether they're journalists or researchers and so on. And as a result, most of that material will be at least slightly left-leaning for one simple reason. Journalists and researchers are trained mainly in this country in liberal arts and humanities faculties. And in most universities in the UK anyway, those facilities very much lean towards the left, politically speaking. But AI is like a child that's being trained in certain ways of thinking. However, it isn't human, it's still a machine, and it is a very good collator of material already provided by human beings, and it's able to feed that back to us in very human-like, fluid ways in various formats. But the potential negative impact of this bias that is said to exist with AI in terms of politics and elections is that it doesn't just affect politics per se, it affects social policy. And that, let's face it, shapes most of our lives, from the way our children are taught in schools and what they're taught, to rules that govern behaviour in the workspace, to questions surrounding freedom of speech and belief, and a whole lot more. And that would be true whether the AI was biased to the left or the right, politically speaking. It's going to impact much more than just the politics. It's going to impact so much more that flows from it. I don't think anytime soon, as you seem to be suggesting, we're going to see any balancing out of political bias, either in our teaching institutions that I mentioned, which might have enabled a better balance of views in media professions and therefore in AI. But short of that, I think we're going to need to focus on the technology of AI itself. Governments in the US and elsewhere are experimenting now with ways of ascertaining where foreign powers are providing misinformation, generating misinformation in local elections, in national elections. And they're looking at ways of using technology to combat that. And I think we might need to see the same approach when it comes to an overabundance of domestically generated material that favours one side of politics or the other, if indeed such an overabundance occurs at different times and places, say in an election or in the lead up to an election. I mean, the Ukrainians have changed that, probably more than anybody else. One of the first things they did was set up, if you read the history of the war over the last year, one of the first actions the government took is to set up a digital platform, not for so much propaganda, but just to inform people within Ukraine and beyond about what was actually happening. And you will remember, as many of our listeners will, when President Zelensky made his first brave statements from the underground and also above ground government buildings in Kiev, saying, I'm not going anywhere, I'm staying here, I've been offered exile into other countries, I'm not taking it, we're fighting this together. They were very powerful messages. And since that time, we've seen a government body, a government department in Ukraine developed specifically for digital information. And it's had a powerful impact on, many would say, winning the digital war against this far greater military power of Russia. So I think we've already seen Ukraine prove the benefit to other governments of the controlling the digital space, or at least shaping the digital narrative. We're going to see a lot more of it.